in now. Okay, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Facebook Live. I think I'm gonna be calling this Facebook Live Busa Secret Show moving forward, but today is just a Facebook Live. So we have here Rondy with us and also Aaron. Rondy, I think many of you already know him. Rondy is the boss and the head of Stockbit Malaysia. And Aaron here we have is the country manager for Luno, which to most of us will be very foreign concept because I think a lot of you know who's Rondy and Stockbit and stocks in general, but cryptocurrencies exchange, Luno, all these will sound like super foreign. So today we are here to find out. I know a lot of you are super skeptical about cryptocurrency because most of you only invest in stocks. And you have heard people gonna burn from investing in cryptocurrencies. You also heard people making a lot of money from cryptocurrency. So today, let's get all our confusion answered. And the whole reason why we are doing this Facebook Live was, if you remember, in the previous Facebook Live with Rondy, where we discussed about growth stock, all this, we knew that he diversified into investing in cryptocurrency. And I also said it's very interesting cryptocurrency this thing because I see a lot of people investing in them, even those people that I respect, but I think it's stupid, right? So today, let us welcome a proper expert on it, who is Aaron, to talk about it. Before that, I'll invite Rondy to share with us what's the flow today, and both of us will be moderating this conversation. One last disclaimer is there's no recommendation to buy and sell. Me and Rondy, both of us are super newbie. I'm the most newbie in terms of cryptocurrency. So we are going to be asking questions. So let's pass the floor to Rondy. Rondy, maybe you can share with us what's the flow.
Okay, so I think we'll try and make this session very informative, but at the same time, packed, so I think maybe for the first 20 minutes to half an hour, we will give the floor to Aaron, and we would like to cover 5 topics actually, Aaron. Firstly is who is Luno, who is Luno? Secondly is what is cryptocurrency? And what are the types of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all these sort of things? And most importantly is why shall we invest in cryptocurrency? Fourthly is the common arguments against investing in cryptocurrency. And lastly is how to invest in cryptocurrency. So I think these are the first 5 topics that we would hand over the floor to you. And after that, we'll just have quite an informal Q&A and chit-chat session. Shall we do that?
Yeah, of course, we should do that. But before that, can I engage with the audience for a while? So we have Danny typing, I'm here. So Jocelyn also, hello. Irene, hello. Ryan, hi Ryan. Muhammad actually tagged his friend. So guys, if you think this talk may benefit your friend or anybody that is interested in investing in crypto, or they are a big skeptic or they are a big believer, get them here. Join this conversation. Okay. Hi Kenny. And can everybody type in coin, because I don't want you to type in other things. Sometimes Facebook, when they see the other words, they will ban one. There was a point of time you type in, crypto or Bitcoin or what, they will just ban your page. So you guys type in coin, nothing else, just coin, right? Then press love and share this video, and we are good to go. So Aaron, I'll pass this floor to you. Maybe you can share, what your company does.
Yeah, the first question is who is Luno?
Yep. Hi guys. Thanks Rondy and Mingtek for the introduction. So Luno is the first and also the market-leading digital asset exchange in Malaysia. When I say digital asset exchange, that is the official term that the Securities Commission uses for cryptocurrency exchanges in Malaysia. So there are a couple of cryptocurrency exchanges that have been approved to operate in Malaysia. We were the first one, and we hold the largest market share. We've been around actually in Malaysia for a very long time now, since 2016 when we started operating. But yeah, we officially got the approval from the Securities Commission to start operating in Malaysia starting October 2019. So it's been about 1 year now since we've gotten the official approval. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here to share a little bit more about the topic of digital assets.
All right, Aaron. Thank you. So Luno is an exchange, as far as we know. So it's sort of like a Bursa exchange, right? Everybody type in Bursa Malaysia, right? Let me say that, yeah, it is like a Bursa Malaysia, but they are also acting, actually they are Bursa Malaysia and UOB together, because in that one app, you can buy stocks and they are also the exchange. So it's like, everybody type in Bursa Malaysia. It's sort of like Bursa Malaysia for crypto, and you can buy and sell through the app itself, right? So that's what Luno is all about. And the cool thing is, actually, there's a reason why Aaron is invited here, because for me personally, what I see is Bursa Securities Malaysia is like a very strict platform. If you get, their recognition, that means, you are doing something right. It's like sort of legit. That's why we also have Stash Away on the platform, all this. The thing that attracted me is a Securities Malaysia name, Yeah. So, yeah, that's why we like it. So maybe you can share a little bit about what is this cryptocurrency that so many people want to know about, and what is it, and how does it work, this cryptocurrency? Why would people buy and sell it?
Cool. So the word cryptocurrency, as you can see, it comes from it's like a combination of two different words, which is crypto and currency. Now, crypto, it refers to cryptography, which is the technology behind encryption, which is, it may sound like a bit of like a high-tech thing, but actually we use this technology of cryptography in everyday transactions. Whatever you do, online banking, whatever you use on your internet browser, most of that is already secured by cryptography. Currency is the other term that is part of this cryptocurrency. And currency is there because when the designers of the first cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin, they wanted to create a form of what they call digital cash. So if the word cryptocurrency, it sounds a bit intimidating or big or scary, just think of cryptocurrency as another way to describe it is digital assets. Actually, that is the term that the that is the term that the Securities Commission they like to use. They call it digital asset. So when you say digital asset, I think it's a bit more. I guess it gives a better picture of what actually cryptocurrencies are. It is something that is completely digital, meaning that it exists on the internet, and it is an asset, meaning that you can buy it, you can sell it, you can send it to your friends, you can trade it. This is the world of digital assets. Now, when you say that why people are investing in cryptocurrency, there are many reasons for investing in cryptocurrency. I'll give you an example of the most famous cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin. So a lot of people see Bitcoin as a form of digital gold because Bitcoin is very scarce, or rather the supply is very limited. And then the demand has been increasing over the past 12 years. So if you see the graph of Bitcoin price, it has really increased over the past 12 years. And I think that's why a lot of people get hooked and get attracted to it. So Bitcoin is the first really popular cryptocurrency. It remains the most famous cryptocurrency until today. Okay, so I'm going to just pause a while. Mengtek, did you get that? Did that sound okay, or do you have any questions?
Yep. I'll just let Rondy ask a question.
Okay.
No, I think that's good for now, Aaron. Please continue.
Okay, cool. So in Malaysia, there are actually 4 cryptocurrencies that can be traded on what we call the regulated exchanges. These 4 digital assets are Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Litecoin. Now, I will just go into each of these coins very briefly, shortly. But I just wanted to say that actually in this world, there are thousands and thousands of digital assets and cryptocurrencies, and more are being created every day. However, the fact is in Malaysia that the Securities Commission is actually they call it, they're quite conservative. They want to protect the investors. So they only allow so far these 4 cryptocurrencies or digital assets for trading. Now, if you decide to go on an overseas platform yourself and you are willing to bear the risk, yeah, you can trade like all kinds of weird, funny, different kind of coins. Some people would consider it gambling or speculation. But in Malaysia, we have these 4 that are regulated and traded on the regulated platforms. So we've talked a little bit about Bitcoin, which is the first one. Now, Bitcoin, without going into too much technical detail, I like to say that it is like form of digital gold because the supply is limited and the demand continues to go up. The supply of Bitcoin is limited due to its code and its algorithm. So we'll not dive too deep into this. You can ask questions about that if you wish. So a lot of people see Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. In recent times, when I say recent times, like over the past few weeks and months, the correlation between Bitcoin and gold has become the correlation has increased. So, and recently there was an article out, I think today, that JP Morgan came out with a report saying that a lot of people are considering Bitcoin as a form of digital gold. So yeah, if you think about Bitcoin, you can think about digital gold. Ming Tek, you have something to ask? I see you.
I better shut up now first. I don't want to interrupt first. I'll let you talk first because I have a lot of objection in my head now.
Okay.
Right? A lot of objection, but I don't want to bring the objection. Otherwise, we will go on and on. So yeah. So what is the difference with if that's the case? Why don't we just use cash now? I mean, if it's digital cash, why can't we just? I mean, now our cash is looking all right, right? I can transfer money over to somebody else, to other countries, right? Why should I use Bitcoin as a currency? Or crypto?
I think if we go down this angle, the whole reason why Bitcoin was created, if you look at the original white paper of Bitcoin, 2008, the written, as I guess you can call it, the manifesto of Bitcoin was that the US government, or rather the world governments at that point of time, they had bailed out the banks which were in trouble during the 2008-2009 financial crisis. So a lot of the proponents of Bitcoin are investing in Bitcoin because unlike fiat currencies, which can be inflated, you can do quantitative easing, you can expand the monetary supply depending on the central bank's policies. A lot of people are investing in Bitcoin because the supply of that is limited. So they feel that it is, I guess it makes more sense for them because they believe in something that is scarce and cannot be just easily inflated according to policies.
Okay, so this point, I have another rebuttal, but I shut up first. Otherwise, we'll go on and on. Rondy, do you have any thing to ask, or you want to move on to the next question?
No, I think let's move on to the next question, Aaron.
Which is, what's the difference between, because you say there were 4 different kind of coins. Would you like to spend a little time to talk about what are the coins in the platform and what are the subtle difference between them? Because if I look at it, right, Bitcoin, in terms of the price movement, it's a bit different because it's now close to the previous high, but the rest is sort of like the same. 2007 spike up, then all drop, then now slowly climb back up, but still very far from their previous high. So maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Yep. So we've spoken a bit about Bitcoin and why we always start with Bitcoin because it is the most established cryptocurrency. If you want to understand the world of cryptocurrency, you always start with Bitcoin. So now we move on to the second coin, which is Litecoin. And Litecoin was created as a lightweight alternative to Bitcoin. Litecoin, without going too deep into the technology, Litecoin, it is designed to process transactions faster. And it is designed to be a lightweight alternative of Bitcoin. So, for example, if you made a transaction with Bitcoin to anywhere around the world, it would take you, say, 60 minutes. Litecoin is designed to be faster than 60 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, similar to Bitcoin, Litecoin supply is limited, and Bitcoin has a supply of 21 million lifetime supply. Litecoin has 4 times that. So Litecoin is basically a lighter, I guess, cheaper, faster version of Bitcoin. And if you want to use another image, you can consider it like the digital silver to Bitcoin digital gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what are the how correlated are all these 4 cryptocurrencies, say in terms of their prices?
Yeah. So the correlation between all 4 cryptocurrencies are pretty high. Actually, if you look at the entire crypto market, just because Bitcoin itself is so dominant and everything kind of pulls everything is kind of linked back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin remains the dominant cryptocurrency. So the correlation is high indeed, something that you guys pointed out, which is why I think if you are actually a new beginner investor to crypto digital assets and you just want to get your first taste, you don't even have to worry about like the thousands of other coins. You just start with Bitcoin, which is the most established. There's been the most research written about it. There's been the most, is the most liquid. You can find it anywhere around the world. So I think that would be the advice if you're just starting out.
Okay, so for any beginner here, one thing just remember: if you just want to get into crypto, everybody say crypto is a thing. We look at Bitcoin first, right? Don't look at anything else. Just look at Bitcoin first. I know there are some questions on the chat box getting very heated, even though we are talking about something else. Wow, the questions there is already very heated, right? So yeah, man, there were few people asking questions on what happened in year 2017 and 18, which is what we just discussed before we opened this live. So guys, we will not be skipping the question. Don't worry, we will be answering it. Right, so please stay with us all the way to the end when we have a Q&A. All the questions, guys, I just want to be very upfront with you. Your questions will be answered. So just stay with us. Once we finish sharing what we want to share, we are going to be putting out your question, and whatever thing that you are discussing here, we will address it. And if you have any opinion, you just share it there, right? That's why we have this kind of platform. Everybody have a voice, right? So help us click the share button or like button. Please don't press the angry emoji right? We haven't done anything. Yeah, so yeah, of all the coins, I see Ethereum is the one that is going up the most, followed by Bitcoin. And I was surprised to see Ripple and Litecoin actually appreciate this year, over the past year. So later we talk about that, once we talk about the exchanges and what will be your point. Let's say if you want to persuade me to invest in crypto, okay, what will be your top 3 points? Like, convince me to invest in crypto now. Give me 3 points why I must invest in crypto or Ethereum or Bitcoin.
Right. Do you want to go into the differences in Ethereum and XRP first before we get into?
Right? Yeah, you talk about that. Then after that, you can come to us.
Okay, can.
I definitely want to understand about XRP and Ethereum. So yeah, enlighten us, please, Aaron.
So Ethereum is by market cap in the world of cryptocurrencies, Ethereum is actually the second largest one after Bitcoin. And Ethereum is very, very interesting because Ethereum, you can call it a crypto platform that can allow a host of programming features on top of it. So again, sounds like a bit like technical mumbo jumbo, but just put in your mind that when Bitcoin was created to be a little bit simpler in terms of it's created to be an asset that you can send, receive. You can do a little bit of programming functions on it. But Ethereum is the one which has proven to be the most popular form of programmable digital asset. When I say programmable, meaning that you can actually build all kinds of smart functions onto your assets. So for example, like if I want to create a token that will allow people on the internet to do some form of lending between each other, I can do all that on the Ethereum platform. Or if I want to do something like, say, people can do like some form of interest-bearing account. I can program that using Ethereum, which is a little bit harder to do from Bitcoin perspective because Bitcoin doesn't have such a powerful programming language. So yeah, Lee Wai Sing asks, is it for financial use? Yes, a lot of the programmable functions on Ethereum so far has been for financial use.
Yep.
So that's Ethereum. Did I make sense, or do you want me to give like some more examples, guys?
I think it makes a little bit of sense to me because I'm not a tech guy, but it makes sense to me in a way where I don't know what kind of thing you program, but I can imagine if it's in a financial institution, right? They have all sorts of things. They may want to charge interest on that. They may want to lend that out. I don't know, right? They may want to do all sorts of magic with their, banks, they do all sorts of magic with even your cash. So they may want to do that, right? But maybe for Bitcoin, it's not that easy to do because, as you say, even to transfer money, it can take like so long, right? And am I right?
Yeah.
Maybe code-wise, it's more flexible for you to do all sorts of mathematics. Right?
So just to clarify, Bitcoin may seem like it takes long to transfer because we are used to instant transfers and domestic instant transfers happen instantly. But let's say you wanted to send money to some Eastern European country that you had to rely on a SWIFT network. That might take you 2 to 3 working days. It might cost you 20 to 25 US dollars. So in terms of Bitcoin, no difference. You transfer anywhere around the world, that takes 60 minutes. But back to your point around some of the cool features that Ethereum will allow, there's this trend that's going on in the world, which is called DeFi, which is decentralized finance. And decentralized finance is basically trying to replicate the traditional financial system, but in the internet world, okay? So today, for example, you can put your deposit in the bank and then you earn some interest. There is a cryptocurrency digital asset version of that. There are multiple versions of that, by the way, and they are programmed using Ethereum. A lot of these platforms are programmed using Ethereum. So, for example, you could put your digital asset with you call it a smart contract, but you can just think about it as an entity. You put your money there and then you get, say, 6% interest per year. But it's all done in digital assets. You don't have to walk into the bank. You don't have to fill up a form, nothing. It's completely online and virtual. So that's an example of what can be done with Ethereum.
But for some reason, with Litecoin and Bitcoin, it cannot be done.
Yeah, so the programming functions on Bitcoin and Litecoin are not as powerful as Ethereum. So that's why Ethereum has a different use case from Bitcoin and Litecoin.
Yep. So I think I don't want to ask in depth into that because I don't know about the programming stuff. Yeah. So yep. How about Ripple?
Yeah. So Ripple or XRP is a bit of an interesting one because unlike the other coins, like say Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, which are very much more decentralized in nature. And when we say decentralized, means it's not controlled by any one company, any one person or anything. It's just like the internet, it goes everywhere. Whereas Ripple was actually founded by a company. And the use case of Ripple or XRP was more to do with, they wanted to use it for allowing remittance between countries to be fast and cheap. So a lot of banks have actually trialed this digital asset called XRP, including banks in Malaysia. I think CIMB and, if I'm not mistaken, RHB has also done some trials using XRP. Globally, there's a bunch of banks. They have consortium. They also use XRP. XRP's purpose is for remittance. Again, we are used to instant transfers in Malaysia, happens instantly. But what happens if you try and send USD to, I don't know, somewhere in Arizona or something? It's a completely different experience. And XRP was designed to allow that to happen faster and cheaper.
Personally, I feel XRP is more practical as a currency. Yeah, this is much faster. And yeah, you're right. If you do wire transfer, those that try to invest in TD Ameritrade or Interactive Broker, the other day only Rondy was complaining to me. He asked me what cannabis stock was I investing in, and I told him it's an OTC counter. You want to buy the real share, you buy from Canada. Then he's like, lazy to fund into my IB because it takes wire transfer and all this problem. So, I mean, in the future, if you can do instant transfer to overseas, it could be a good thing. But I'm worried about the fluctuation because if I have cash, the whole reason for me to keep cash is to not have volatility. But all these cryptocurrencies, it is volatile, right?
Yep.
And it is quite. I know. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, XRP was the one that which the market cap was at one point bigger than Google or something like that, was it? Or rather, the founder was richer than the founders of Google.
Potentially the founder.
In 2018, yeah. That's
crazy. It's a bit of a, I guess you can call it a bit of a, I guess you can say that, you know, I mean, you were right in the middle of the bubble, and then you also have to take into account that, yeah, on paper maybe it looks like he's richer, but if he sold all his stock, the value of the currency, not stock, if he sold all his coins, the value of the coins will also drop. So he's probably not going to be able to liquidate his entire wealth into US dollars so easily. The liquidity just isn't there, I think. So it could be a bit of media hype, I think.
Understand. Okay, shall we move to the next topic?
Sure. In the next topic will be why invest in crypto?
Yeah, why shall we invest in cryptocurrency, Aaron? Okay, maybe I'll just share with everybody here the reason why I actually invested my first ever Bitcoin. Prior to this, I've always thought that Bitcoin is just a bubble, and I never understand the concept, and I don't really understand the fundamental. As a matter of fact, even right now, I don't really understand the fundamental. That's why we invite you here, Aaron, right? But what I would say is that my perception changed a little bit, especially during March, this year, March, you know. It was during when the Fed had started this entire of unlimited quantitative easing. Then it occurs to me that I'm like, hey, wait a minute. If I'm just thinking from the point of view of supply, right? The supply of, let's just say, fiat currency, the US dollars, against supply of commodities such as gold, or even like digital currency such as Bitcoin. One has actually went up tremendously. And these two things, which is gold and Bitcoin, have actually been staying, you know. So in that manner, it can be considered as undervalued. So that was my first sort of like logical explanation to myself, right? So but I definitely need to understand a lot more in depth about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and whatnot. So yeah, please enlighten me some more, Aaron.
Yeah.
So I can actually buy more Bitcoin.
I'm glad you brought up the point about supply and demand, Rondy, because I think that's a big angle of why people are investing in crypto. And the fact is, okay, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin because, like I said, Bitcoin is the one that you want to go first for if you're new to this kind of thing. And the fact is that Bitcoin has limited supply. Its supply is also predictable, and it is not only predictable, it is completely traceable. Like anyone with an internet connection can definitely look at Bitcoin and make sure that, you know, it's issued according to what it was said. You know, there's no fraud going on. Anyone can do that. Okay, so Bitcoin has limited supply, and like you said, there's currency devaluation going on all across the world. Most notably in developed countries, for example, say the US or the EU or the UK, where the governments are printing. Well, you can say printing, or you can say they're increasing their monetary supply. So traditional conventional economics will say that if you increase the supply of something by a lot, its value should go down. And I'll give you an example. The US government balance sheet of the central bank, when I say balance sheet, I say the total assets of the central bank. Before 2008, it never even touched $1 trillion US. But as of last week, the US central bank's assets are $7.2 trillion. So in the space of 12 years, that currency has increased by 7 times in terms of the total assets in circulation. Now, again, conventional economics will say that you simply increase the quantity of something, its value will go down versus something like gold. So that's really the first argument for. The second argument is you can call it the developing country currency angle. So I don't know about you, but when I grew up in Malaysia, US dollar versus Malaysian ringgit was 2.5. Okay, I grew up very comfortable with that. Over the past 25 years, it has fallen to US dollar equals to 4.16 Malaysian ringgit. So I think for a lot of us, we want to have at least part of our assets, if not all our assets, I think just a little bit of our assets in a hedge against this kind of inflation or devaluation. For some people, it is gold. Gold has remained a very, very popular thing for thousands of years. But recent research has shown that more and more people, especially younger people, are preferring Bitcoin to gold as their inflation hedge. Now, the reasons, I don't know why, maybe people are more comfortable with digital today, but the data is unmistakable. People are moving towards Bitcoin. So that's the second reason.
Mm-hmm.
The third reason is basically the potential for large gains. And, you mentioned something about volatility, Mengtek. It can go up, it can go down, which I think is true. I mean, if you want the potential to get high returns, you must also be prepared for the possibility that it will crash every once in a while. So if we look at the historical performance of Bitcoin, and this has been documented in so many things, its performance has been the best asset class of the past 10 years. Whether you compare gold, oil, whatever, Bitcoin has performed better than anything else. If you look at it in terms of the Sharpe ratio, and when we say Sharpe ratio, which means basically the performance over the volatility of an investment, adding something like say 1, 2, 3, 5% of Bitcoin into a portfolio has greatly increased both the returns and also the Sharpe ratio of a traditional portfolio. So there's been recent articles that come out with a lot of research on that. And I think it basically just tells us that, if you're not comfortable with buying a lot, add a little bit into your portfolio, you get all the benefits, and you have the potential for a huge increase in value as well.
So if you look at the volatility compared to the return, it's actually much better compared to the other asset class. Is that what you mean? Sharpe ratio?
So I've not looked at it 100% asset versus asset. As far as I understand, if you look at Bitcoin's Sharpe ratio over the past, say, 5 to 7 years, I think it's like 2 point something or 3 point something, which as far as I understand is pretty good. But what I'm referring to is people have done studies on, they take a traditional portfolio of 60% stocks, 40% bonds, and they added 1%. Okay, see how it performs. Then they added 3% of Bitcoin. Then they added 5% of Bitcoin. And the research has shown that over the past 5 years, 7 years, that if you had done that, then your returns would have outperformed, say, just a normal 60-40 kind of portfolio.
But Aaron, so, that is basically talking in terms of price performance, right? But if, let's say, I am to buy Bitcoin, right, I would probably think that I would like to invest this for a long period of time. Let's just say 5 years and 10 years. So perhaps the question that I would like to ask is this the potential of, let's say, a 10-bagger, and if it is, can you paint for me the picture on why you think that the price is going to go 10 times from today in, say, the next 5 years? What sort of like economies or what sort of infrastructure that our global kind of like our world is going to have or be in the future that make Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies so valuable in the future, if it is really something that we can invest now?
Yep, cool. So let me give you some statistics. Research has shown that probably 1 or 2% of the world's population have already invested into digital assets. So the first point is that it's really, really early. If you think you are late to crypto, Bitcoin, you are not late to it. It's only been around for 12 years. Only 1 to 2% of the population has invested in it. Now, if we take comparison between market size, the market cap of Bitcoin is roughly around, I think today it's probably around slightly below $300 billion. All the Bitcoin in the world, by the way, is worth below $300 billion. Combined. Combined. Everything in the world is probably below 300 billion. Compare it to, say, an asset like gold. There's probably $8 or $9 trillion of gold assets in the world. So if you believe in the case of, say, Bitcoin as a form of digital gold, and you say that, okay, I think Bitcoin will maybe only it will maybe only overtake, say, 15% of gold or 20%. that I believe is going to increase the price of Bitcoin by a multiple. It's not going to go up like 20%. It might go up like three or four times in price if it just gets to say even 10 or 15% of the gold market cap. So that's the other thing. The other thing is, because Bitcoin is traceable, you can look at what is the activity that is happening on the on the blockchain or the Bitcoin network. You can see that over the years, the number of people who have been using Bitcoin has increased, and we're talking about we use a term called active addresses, which is the number of addresses that are actively sending Bitcoin to each other. If you look at it back in, say, 2013, it was below 100,000. If you look at it today, it's like 1 million active addresses are using Bitcoin on a monthly basis. So you can see that it's behaving a bit like you can call it like a tech stock lah. The number of users continues to grow, and as you know, in any tech kind of stock or any kind of tech app or any kind of thing like Grab or Uber, the number of people that use it, the more people that use it, the more valuable it becomes. So again, we're now just at like 1 or 2%. What happens if 10% of the world's population uses Bitcoin? I think there's a huge growth for potential there. Huge potential for growth there, yeah.
Okay. We have a lot of questions. Even I have a lot of questions now in my head running. I want to organize it in a way, but I just want to, bring all the things that we want to ask, the proper things first, which is the next one, which is also a very important thing to talk about here today, is what are the differences between the exchanges? Because as far as I know, there are many exchanges that you can use to trade Bitcoin. Even eToro, you can use eToro to trade Bitcoin, but the commission is very high. So maybe you can share about what are the differences between the exchanges and what is the difference between Luno and other exchanges, especially in Malaysia.
Yep. So the first thing I want to say is that there are regulated exchanges. And I say regulated means we are approved by the SC. Okay, there are 3 that are in Malaysia that are regulated. You can check us out. So the first thing I want to say, especially if you're new, please trade on regulated exchanges, because if you trade on an unregulated exchange, the risk is going to be higher. You may not know you are trading with who. You may be trading with a criminal or a drug trafficker or something like that. And a lot of these unregulated exchanges, they don't even have an office in Malaysia. They don't report to, they don't report to the SC. They don't report to anybody. If the exchange goes down or gets hacked, you basically have nothing. You can't do anything. Like, you can send them a letter, but if they're, say, based in Malta or Vietnam, they're not going to do anything about it. Whereas a regulated exchange, if you trade on there and something goes wrong, you can, of course, send a letter to the exchange. If you feel tak puas hati, you're not happy with what the exchange says, you can complain to the SC. The SC will take action as well. It will run an investigation. Still not happy, you can complain to the police. Regulated exchanges have an office in Malaysia, literally. You can raise police reports and the police will investigate. So that's the first thing I want to say about regulated versus unregulated exchanges. The other thing about differences between exchanges is that it differs in terms of the number of coins that they offer. So, for example, we offer all 4 coins. There may be exchanges that offer only Bitcoin and Ethereum, or they may offer other coins which are less or more. Okay. In Malaysia, we have the most, by the way, which is 4. In terms of liquidity, and I say liquidity is because there is a bit of competition for attention between exchanges. So the exchange with the highest liquidity will give you the best price, basically, because you can buy, there's more supply available to be traded. So you would also need to compare between liquidity on exchanges. And then you can compare in terms of features. Like, for example, some exchanges have FPX, which is instant transfers. So if you make a deposit, your money will arrive immediately. Whereas some exchanges, they use bank transfer. So these are all the features that you can compare. And I would like to encourage, if you have not tried before, I would like to encourage you to try Luno. I believe that we have the best exchange. Of course, I'm biased, but yeah.
Best exchange in terms of it's very liquid.
In terms of liquidity, in terms of safety, security, features, and even in terms of education, we also have a pretty informative website and help center and blog. We have YouTube, we have all kinds of things. Sorry, the last thing I want to mention is that we also have an app. So some of the exchanges, they are still not yet reaching the level of app, so they're trading more on the website. So we have an app which makes it more convenient and easy for everyone.
Yep. Okay, so now that we've got all the necessary questions out,
I think this question we will have to. I think this topic about the different exchanges, we will definitely need to come back to you again, Aaron, because I see many comments that is talking about this, and talking about the past experience with Luno.
Yep.
But maybe just one last question before we move to the Q&A, right? I just want to find out, because sometimes, of course, being an investor myself, I need to look into both the pros and the cons about investing in something, right? So you have mentioned just now about the pros of investing in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, which I totally understand. I mean, well, I would say I am 60%. I understand it, But can I just, ask you what are the common arguments against investing in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin? Like what is the biggest resistance that people on the street ask you, like, I do not want to invest in Bitcoin because this. Yeah, maybe you can just highlight that so we have a little bit more balanced opinion,
Okay, I'm going to give you an interesting answer because I just realized this pretty recently as well. If you ask an average guy on the street, what are their objections against investing in crypto? They'll come up with something like, usually it's like, oh, but isn't crypto used for bad purposes like money laundering? Isn't it a very bad thing? It's used for drugs and stuff. Or they will say that, oh, this can be hacked. So if you ask a layman, usually that will be their answer. And of course, there's a rebuttal to that. And the rebuttal to that is if you manage your security properly, you manage your keys properly, and you trade on regulated exchanges, then you should be safe, okay, in terms of the safety of your crypto. If you talk about drug trafficking, money laundering, and stuff like that, all these things happen in crypto. But I would say that it is actually a very, very small percentage of what's happening in crypto. Most of the activity is actually legitimate activity. And if you talk about drugs, money laundering, whatever, most of it actually happens in the world of cash, okay? So that is the common thing that people have against crypto. But if you go to the investing world, if you go to people who already started to invest in other things, I realize that their objections against crypto is usually something to do about fundamentals. Okay, how do I value crypto? How do I, can I do discounted cash flow, or can I do PE ratio? What's the dividend yield? Okay, if I'm owning a stock, I own a part of the business. But if I own crypto, what do I own? Okay, so if you go and talk to investors, they have that kind of objections, not the money laundering and stuff like that, which is more of the average person. So I would say that admittedly, Bitcoin crypto is something that's very new, and a methodology that can be, say, very, very accurately to use to value things, it is not 100% there yet, okay? I would say that it is still in its infancy. There's many people who draw up research papers, they use different kind of metrics. And I can share you a link, probably Mingtek and Rondy. I can share you how to value Bitcoin website, like tons of research papers there that you can read, right? And I will say that it is very different from how you value, say, a stock, or how you value a currency, or how you value a commodity. And the reason for that is because Bitcoin, crypto, the nature of the asset itself is not a stock. It is not really a currency. It is not really a commodity as well. It has like a little bit here, a little bit there. So because of that, it is actually a little bit tough to value with absolute certainty. So I would say that, for those who are investing a little bit confused, I would say that when you invest in crypto, you're investing in the future. You're investing like in a growth stock. The the fundamentals that you are used to may not make sense to you right now, okay? So you may want to limit your risk in the amount of crypto that you buy. Maybe you want to allocate 1% and consider this like your experimental fund. Some people used to do it this way. Some people say 3% or 5%. But I think that's the biggest thing about crypto right now. The biggest objection is that it's not so easy to value crypto like how you would do with, say, stocks or something else.
Okay. Can I just also find out, just coming back to the point on why you can invest in Bitcoin, right? Because a lot of my friends are saying that the reason why nowadays it's a lot more substance to invest in Bitcoin is because now it has become like institutionalized and all that. So what does that mean actually, and what sort of risk has been reduced by institutionalizing cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and stuff?
Yeah. So I would say that when we say institutionalizing of Bitcoin is that for the first few years of Bitcoin's existence, it wasn't easy for companies to buy Bitcoin. Because as a company, sometimes you are bounded by certain rules, okay? Companies cannot go and simply invest in like something because they have rules to follow, regulations to follow. But increasingly in recent times, we have seen opportunities for people to invest in Bitcoin, crypto. For example, custodians, or we have seen crypto funds, meaning that these funds are institutions that are licensed institutions, and then they offer the ability to invest in crypto. So I'll give you an example. Our sister company, which is Grayscale Investments, Grayscale. Grayscale is the largest fund provider for people who want to invest into Bitcoin. So when you buy something with Grayscale, you are not investing in Bitcoin directly, you are buying a fund. It is a bit like an ETF, okay? It's a bit like an exchange traded fund. It is not an ETF, but it is a fund. And Grayscale has this year, I think they've increased their asset under management to $7 billion. So it is a sign that a lot of institutions are starting to buy into Bitcoin. And that, I think, leads to, why people are starting to warm up to the idea. And there's been a couple of very public companies, for example, Square Cash, MicroStrategy. These are large tech companies who have also started buying Bitcoin as a part of their strategy.
Okay, I think Mingtek is a big. I think Mingtek is a lover of this tech counter called Square, right, Mingtek?
Yeah.
Really?
But unfortunately, I didn't get to invest much in them. I mean, like all these tech counter fly up so fast. How to buy a bit. By the time you buy a bit, they already fly. But recently, they just reported 140% increase in revenue. Most of the revenue came from Bitcoin trading. I believe they will soon become the biggest Bitcoin exchange, man. If this goes on, they may become the biggest Bitcoin exchange in the world.
So the interesting thing about Square is, on the back end, they actually don't run a Bitcoin exchange. They're more like a broker, okay? So I think they work with an exchange on the back end. So they are the customer-facing thing. On the back end, they work with the exchange. So yeah, it's a very interesting business model that we hopefully can roll out in Malaysia with other brokers as well. So we power the back end and the brokers power the front end. Yeah.
If you can collaborate with like say Grab or what, that would be crazy, man. Grab will become the super app, man. Everything you can do there. So anyway, I have one last question which is related to what we say before I go and ask all the questions from the floor, and I personally have some objections to ask you. So the biggest question will be here, what does it take for you to be regulated? Because in the floor, there are so many questions about, there are this platform that's not regulated, there's another platform, all these things. So what does it take for you to be regulated by SC, and what does it mean, right? What criteria do you need to pass that other exchange, other platform cannot pass?
Yeah. So very, very good question. The SC, their main priority from day one when we go and apply for the approval is investor protection. Okay, that is their number one priority. So when we submitted our application, we have to prove that we have investors' best interests in mind. So a few things that we have to make sure that we pass the test is things like our security. Okay, we have to list out all our procedures of how we store people's funds. Why is it safe? We have to use a trustee. A trustee meaning that the ringgit that you deposit into our account, the account doesn't belong to us. We cannot run away with the money. Okay, it is a licensed trustee. Apart from that, we have to show how our order book works, so there's no market manipulation. Okay, we have to prove that we cannot. I cannot go and pump and dump the price myself because I work in Luno. And then I think the other thing, which is perhaps it sounds very simple, the company must be incorporated in Malaysia. It must have compliance officer in Malaysia, and the key management people must be based in Malaysia. That is an important point, because again, if you run an exchange from say, I don't know, Hong Kong or say overseas, the accountability is not so strong, because what happens if there's a hack or something happens to there's market manipulation. What are you going to do? So the SC's purpose of putting all these things in place, again, is to protect the investors locally in Malaysia.
So number one, you have somebody that you can find and catch if something goes wrong. You have an office as well.
Yep.
Somebody actually check you, and the Securities Commission don't play. They will check whether you are trading against an investor.
Mm-hmm.
The money will be placed with your trustee account, not your account, not Luno's bank account, but a trustee account linked back to the person's name. So impossible to run away with the money. And actually, there are stories about people getting hacked. How does it work? Is it possible for Luno getting hacked?
So if you talk 100% in terms of possibilities, if you're being honest, there's always this tiny minor possibility, right? Anything can happen.
But it's not imaginable now how they will do it, right?
Yeah. So I would say that this is not, I guess it's not a Luno specific thing, but overall, overwhelmingly in today's world, where most of the so-called hack happen is, if people they had their email hacked, and then in their email they use the same password with other account, or in their email they save their password, or they go and click a link that links them to a website that looks like Maybank, but it's actually not Maybank, and then they get phished of their information. So I say the majority of attacks that happen today happen through this kind of method. So if I would encourage everyone, if you are online, no matter what it is, right, whether it's your brokerage account, your email, whatever, whether it's your PayPal account or Faith, you just have to make sure that you protect your own security. And then if you talk in terms of the company, if the company has done anything that is wrong, you can always file a report against the authorities. Again, this applies for companies that are obviously based in the country, and then the government authorities will investigate and make sure that nothing went wrong there.
Yeah. And for us to withdraw money from Luno, you only be withdrawn to our own account, or we can withdraw to any people's account?
You can only withdraw it to your own account. That is in line with the, I guess you can call it the AMLA money laundering rules. You can only put money from your own account, withdraw back to your own account.
Okay.
And it can only be done in ringgit, right? For Luno Malaysia?
Can only be done in ringgit, that's correct.
Yep. Yeah. I guess there's still a way, if people want to have, because you can send money to other people through the app. So if you lose the access to your account, it could be still dangerous. So guys, please make sure your password login, all this is secure, and you don't let other people know the password login, all this. Do you have two-factor authentication?
Yep, we have two-factor authentication, and then we have a series of, on the back end, I cannot share, but on the back end, we have a series of checks to make sure that if something looks weird, we also have some checks and balances. For example, if somebody log in from, say, a IP address which is overseas, if we notice that, we immediately notify you, I ask you to log your account if it's not you. These are standard procedures that we have as well.
I see. So I believe that, in another word, if we want to invest in crypto, Luno is one of the safer app we can use here. How about the fees? Is the fees competitive?
Yeah, I would say our fees are, well, competitive, and also we have some of the lowest fees in town. So, and depending on your level of usage, if you trade a lot, you can even, there are ways to even get to trading for 0% fees. I mean, a little bit complex, so we don't have to go there, but you can actually reach that kind of tier. If you have done a lot of trades, you can actually do trading for free.
How does it work? Like the normal fees is like what? If I do trades on the platform, it's like 1%, 0.1%.
So we have a feature which is called instant buy and instant sell. That one, literally, you say how much you want, we quote you a price. That one is traded at 2%. Okay, so it's a little bit more expensive because you get the crypto instantly. If you go to our exchange product, which is, it looks a little bit like a stockbroking kind of exchange, you can queue orders for, I think the most expensive is 0.5%. Okay, 0.5% trades whenever you make a trade. If you reach a certain level of, say, I think the level is 400,000 ringgit of trading a month, I think you can trade for as low as it goes down like 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, and eventually you get to 0%.
Yeah. The good thing with trading with this kind of app is you get a real coin. It's really yours. It's really a Bitcoin, right? The transaction really happened, because I know with some other apps it's not. It could be a CFD. Yeah.
So Aaron, I think maybe let's get the big elephant out of the room now, okay? Because if we see a lot of the comments, it's actually one of the biggest risks that even I myself have. Yeah. So which is actually what we discussed earlier before we went live. It's about the liquidity of the exchange, or rather the liquidity of Luno in itself, right? Because the exchange is filled with people that wants to buy and sell, and you need this sort of like liquidity for you to transact. And I believe this is what happened in 2017 to early 2018. So maybe you might want to address what happened then and what has transpired between then and now, and how can you convince us that this sort of illiquid or bank run so-called event is not going to happen again in Luno?
Yep. So what happened in 2017 was, remember back then there's no regulations. Yeah, there's literally no regulations. So crypto trading it's not illegal, but there's no, nobody knows the status of it. Okay. So we were operating in Malaysia since 2016. 2017, our bank then, which is Maybank, decided that they don't want to work with us anymore. Okay. So they froze the account. So when they froze the account, means that people who have money inside, if they try to make a withdrawal, it does not happen because obviously the bank has frozen the account. Now, it took us a couple of months to try and persuade Maybank to reopen the account. So within a couple of months, what they allowed was withdrawal. So people can take out their money. However, they never, until today, by the way, they never allow us to make any more deposits into the Maybank account. So that basically means in early or mid 2018, a lot of people will start to take out their ringgit, but there's no new money coming into the system. So the price of Bitcoin at that moment, there's a lot of selling pressure, but there's no buying pressure. So the price keeps falling down. So you would have seen a very weird price on the Luno Malaysia exchange in middle of 2018. Again, due to regulations, we cannot just bring in Bitcoin from elsewhere and push it into the system and pump liquidity. It doesn't work that way. We actually had to apply for approval from the SC. We applied starting January 2019. We got our full approval to launch in October 2019. So since then, we have gotten all the required approvals. And then now we have a very strong banking partner, which is mBank. So you can see even in the newspapers, we mention mBank all the time. So people don't have to worry that we will have another issue with the bank, because we now have a very supportive bank partner. So it's not going to be an issue anymore.
Is it because you are just reliant on one bank? Is that a risk in itself?
Yeah, of course there is a risk. It is a very small risk because
that's what happened to you and Maybank last time, right?
Yeah.
How do you guarantee that Maybank is not going to do the same?
Yeah, it's different now. It's different.
Sorry,
It's different because we have the full approval from the SC. So, we literally have an approval from government-related authority to say that we can do this. But of course, on the background, we continue to have conversations with other banks. So, yeah, very soon we will probably have bank number 2, bank number 3 to, I guess, if you're worried that the bank, M-Bank tomorrow doesn't want to do crypto anymore, then we will have other alternatives. So not to worry, we have contingency banks in the pipeline.
Okay, so in summary, what happened in around 2018 is that the prices that was seen in Luno is a lot lower than the prices that was seen in your general global market, right? In terms of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency. And this is because there is just no buyer and it's just a lot of seller, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
And how the situation have changed right now is you are saying that there is a stronger banking partner that is ensuring that this event is not going to occur again.
Yep. And also we have approval from the government authority. That's the key thing here, because back in 2017, there's no approval. You want to apply for approval, also you cannot get approval. There's literally no way that anyone can give you approval.
Okay.
So there were some questions from Stock Big page, monitoring there both sides. Apparently, it doesn't show up in StreamYard if it's cross-posted. So two, I think, very relevant question. One is, can we buy fractional Bitcoin? That means 0.1 Bitcoin, 0.025 Bitcoin.
Yep, absolutely. You can buy as low as 0.0005 Bitcoin, which today's price, I think, is about
6 ringgit.
5. No, I think it's like 15 ringgit or something like that. So it's a very, very small amount. So you don't have to worry about fractional.
So, and then after that, we also have the wallet, right? The wallet in Luno. So that wallet, is it tied to our name or tied to Luno's name, but then after that transferred to us?
So that wallet that you have is the funds are managed by us, of course. However, it's like your own bank account or your own e-wallet, in the sense that you can send out the money, you can send out the Bitcoin, you can receive Bitcoin into your account. So it behaves a bit like an e-wallet, just that instead of ringgit, then you have your Bitcoin . Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, Aaron, can you explain a little bit more about that? Because I know that a lot of people have been telling me, to open my own wallet and even like hard wallet, right? Especially if I have a lot of Bitcoin. Can you just explain to us, especially like newbies like me and Mingtek, right? What are the different types of wallets, and why is opening a wallet that is not an exchange wallet a move to protect your own kind of like safety for your Bitcoin and cryptocurrency?
Yeah. So when you store your Bitcoin crypto on an exchange like us, we own the private key, and the private key is basically the key that allows you to unlock your funds. Okay. So in other words, we are behaving like what you would call a digital asset custodian. So we take custody of your funds. Now, because of the nature of the technology, technically, if you wanted to hold your own crypto, you can self-custody. Okay, you can buy a piece of hardware. It looks a bit like a USB. Okay, and then you can actually transfer your private key, or rather you can transfer the key that unlocks your crypto into this device. So this is what is known as a hardware wallet. It's quite popular. I myself also have hardware wallet. I keep some funds on Luno. I keep some funds on my hardware wallet. So it all depends on how you want to manage your own funds. If you say in terms of convenience, if you keep it on an exchange like Luno is convenient . But if you say that, I don't trust people to manage it for me, I want to manage it myself, then you may want to use a hardware wallet.
And if, let's say, I transfer out let's just say I invest in Bitcoin and I transfer from Luno to my hardware wallet, can I use this wallet to maybe go into another exchange?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then why didn't people use this method, back in 2018, where they just take out their cryptocurrency and from Luno and kind of like move it into another exchange?
Yeah, I think a lot of people did it actually.
Okay.
However, there are some people who maybe it's not a simple thing to do, because hardware wallet, it's like a USB stick. You need to be a little bit tech savvy before you are able to do it so simple. So I think for a lot of people, they would just prefer to just use Luno to wait for the services to get restored. And for whatever reason, they did not take out their funds.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So I think the key takeaway here, even though the whole concept is new, is I think this entire cryptocurrency investing and trading thing right now is still in the infancy stage. If you really want to trade it, I think you should go with something that is regulated. Because from what I heard, right, if you go with something that is not regulated, it sounds so dangerous, Nobody knows if they are trading against you. Nobody knows where is your money being held, right? So if you really want to, then I think it's not about the fees. It's more about the safety, which I think Luno here at least is regulated by SC, and you know where to find if you have any issue, right? So yeah, I think Rondy, do you have any other questions regarding the exchange, where the money is being stored? Actually, I have no problem with Luno as an app, right? Because for me, I don't want to be tech savvy. I just want to make money, right? As long as it's safe, right? And I know that, if something goes wrong, I know where to find, right? Then that's good enough. I don't need to have my own wallet, all these things. I just trust. I just want to use the platform to make money, right? So, okay, one thing is there any interest bearing if I keep my money there or Bitcoin?
Yeah, I really love the question, because we actually, if you look at Luno Global product, we actually have an interest-bearing account. So people can expect between 3 to 4% per annum if they send their Bitcoin to the so-called savings wallet. We call it savings wallet. Now, the only thing is, in Malaysia, I'm still getting approval from the SC to launch this in Malaysia. So far, they haven't given the green light yet. So it's something that we are still working on. But hopefully in near future, we will be able to offer this to Malaysians as well.
You don't need to get approval from Bank Negara, because as far as I know, they need to approve if you are taking people's saving, isn't it?
So it is a bit of a gray area. It's a bit of a gray area, because technically this is not ringgit that we are taking. Technically, it is Bitcoin that we are taking. So
Bitcoin as well.
That's why we are still in the middle of discussion with the SC. It is not so straightforward to just launch this.
Okay. Yeah. So, Rondy, do you have anything?
Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of people talking about Remitano, Binance, and all this, right? So maybe, Aaron, I'll just give the floor to you, right? Maybe you can explain to us, why shall we invest cryptocurrency or Bitcoin with Luno and not all these foreign exchanges,
Yeah, I think it comes down to, number one, in terms of risk and security. Again, Remitano, Binance, these are overseas platforms. If you are comfortable to take the risk, I guess some people are comfortable to do it. But again, if you're new to it, I would suggest that you start with something regulated, because at least you know that if anything goes wrong, you can make a complaint to the SC against me, and SC will literally call me and I'll have to explain it. But if something happens in, say, Remitano or Binance, then you're not going to be able to make that complaint so easily. The other thing about using platforms like Remitano and Binance, these are what you call peer-to-peer things. And in a peer-to-peer trade means that you don't go through a party like us, somebody who's regulated, somebody who uses a trust account. When you trade peer-to-peer, means Rondy will pay money directly into Mengtek's account, okay? And Mengtek will send his crypto to Remitano. Remitano will send the crypto to Rondy. Now, if you do this kind of thing, maybe a small amount is okay, but if you get to a certain level that the banks start to question, the banks themselves, how come, Mingtek is sending 25,000 to Rondy? There may be questions arising from that. And if you so happen to you trade with, say, a person who is involved in illegal activity, then your bank account may have issue, because you have become part of the investigation against that illegal activity. So these are some of the risks, yeah.
It could be I transfer the money, then he doesn't transfer a Bitcoin over.
Yeah. So technically speaking, there are some measures that these platforms will do. For example, Remitano and Binance, they also have measures to protect against this. But I also know that fraud can happen, lah. Okay, like I pretend that I make payment to you, or I go and cheat somebody. I ask him to make payment on behalf of me. All this kind of scam can happen. So yeah, again, I would say that if you're new to this, start with something regulated, because I think that's the safest way to do it.
Yeah. So guys, I see a lot of comments about other platforms, which frankly, me and Rondy, we are new. So when I look at all the other platforms, this is what's coming to my head. So don't hate. As a stock investor, as someone that try many different platforms like Interactive Broker, eToro, all this. For me, when I think about investing or trading, when I'm choosing a platform, I don't care about the fees or what. Most important, I don't want to worry my money will disappear. That's the only thing. It's already tough enough to make money buying and selling. I don't want to worry about my money. Is it safe being stocked here? So I think it's a no-brainer to go for a regulated platform. And in Malaysia, there's only 3. So you pick which one. After you filter the regulation side, only you go and pick which one is the one that you like, which one is more convenient, right? Which one has more feature, which one has better fees. Any other platform, I think it's quite high risk, right? Unless you really believe in that platform and you know someone working in there or whatever. But other than that, if you're newbie investor just like me, average Malaysian, I think you should go for a regulated one, right? So yeah, man. Yeah, Luis here say he has good experience. Hey, by the way, I'm not promoting Luno, right? Whether you use Luno or not, Rondy and I won't get paid one. In fact, if you sign up with Luno today, I think Aaron is gonna give you a promo code, which, full disclaimer, me and Rondy get $0 for this, right? So yeah, man. So Luis say I have good experience with Luno, and after the explanation, I'm more confident to trade with Luno than Remitano or local Bitcoin. Yeah. So this is what Luis is saying. Yeah, Calvin is second that, right? So can you share what IQ platform? Oh, I think that one is not even a crypto platform, right? It's just a binary option. So it's sort of like, it's a different CFD kind of platform. Am I right? Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
You guys never see the ad.
Yeah. IQ platform, I think, is a binary platform, probably CFD. It's not. I don't think it allows you to buy crypto directly.
Yeah. So okay, guys. SC means what? SC means Securities Securities Commission Malaysia. They are like you can think of them sort of like the police of investment, right? Yeah. Yes. They are like
So anything investing, whether it's bursa, whether it's a broker, whether it's Kenanga, Rakuten, whatever, anything in Malaysia that do investing actually need to report to SC one.
Yep, correct. So, and this SC don't play. You do one mistake, their fine minimum is 1 million one. So nobody is gonna mess with them. So that's why when this SC name, when it comes to my head, any platform that gets recognized by SC, I will take them seriously. So Luno is one of them. Okay, so I think in terms of the platform usage, we have all the questions being cleared out, Rondy, or from the Q&A floor.
I think so. Just now that one long explanation from Aaron should clarify a lot of things. So, I mean, okay, just maybe one last question from me, right? Because I'm actually a very skeptical person. In terms of Luno exchange, what would you consider like the highest risk with regards to what happened in 2017, 2018 to happen again? Yeah, like can it actually ever happen again where where your prices and the price of the global Bitcoin is not going to be the same? And what sort of event will that actually, what sort of event might cause these sort of things?
Yeah, I would say it's very, very highly unlikely because there's a huge bunch of traders now on the platform. And what happens if there's even a small difference, say, between the Malaysian Luno exchange price and, say, overseas, let's say on a cryptocurrency exchange overseas. If there's a difference, what people will do is they will just buy from the exchange that is lower. They will send it to the exchange that is more expensive and they will sell. And then the prices you see in all the exchanges around the world will normalize. So there will be small differences, but I don't think it's ever going to be that scenario where happened in 2017. That was a like extraordinary scenario because the bank just decided to block the account.
So in that situation, people cannot buy, is it?
People can buy, people can sell, but people cannot put in ringgit deposit. People cannot put in new deposit into the system. So that is the block. Yeah, but again, it's not going to happen again. So yeah.
I mean, like if it happens and people can still put in ringgit, but the price for some reason does crash, it's a good opportunity to make a lot of money, isn't it? I buy from Luno, then I sell in Remutinano or something.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen again. So yeah.
So because yeah, as we say, actually, right, do you guys know even in stocks market, like if you look at Top Glove price, Top Glove price Malaysia, Top Glove price in Singapore, the Top Glove price in US is different, right? Could be at the same time, is different. So there is a difference in the price, and there's opportunity for you to make money if you can transfer the share you buy from Singapore to Malaysia to be sold here. But unfortunately, you cannot lah. But with crypto, for some reason, you can. So there is, I think, I tell you the truth, there is a huge opportunity to make money by profiting and taking advantage of the price difference between different exchange, if you know how. Am I correct, Aaron?
Yeah, I do know people who do it like their full-time job. They literally just arbitrage between exchanges. So
there are people that just do this as a full-time job.
Yeah. They do it in their free time. They trade stock lah, but most of the time they're trading crypto. So yeah,
and almost no risk, right?
Well, I mean, there's always risk lah. You know what happens if the market moves? You know, there's always risk. But I know some people have been doing it. Some people even use bots or algorithm to trade for them. So it is something that's quite interesting. I myself want to learn more about doing this.
Okay, so yeah,
but
I mean,
arbitrage, especially in exchanges that is in different countries, you need to take into consideration the FX rates as well.
Yeah, definitely. But in Malaysia, there's already 3 exchanges. So, you know, technically you can arbitrage between exchanges, local, all Malaysian ringgit also possible.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So
I think
again, somebody
on the Bitcoin and stuff, no longer on Luno and exchanges.
Yeah. Somebody pointed out the prices is not gonna be. There's no one global price, right? Every exchange will have their own price. So okay, guys, we have talked for 1 hour and 18 minutes. I think now I want to go into my main point. Actually, I've been waiting for this moment now. Once we clear everything that we need to clear the answer question, I get to ask my real question. So I'm super skeptical, not on the platform, but I'm super skeptical on cryptocurrency as a whole, you know. So hate me if you want. But for me, this thing is not a productive asset, right? There's no guarantee in its value. If I buy, it better go up in price or else I'm gonna lose. And if it drop, there's no guarantee that the price will go up and also, right? That's currently what I'm thinking. So for me to buy and hold Bitcoin is very risky. I would much rather buy growth stocks, even like companies that are not making money, losing money but is growing, maybe has potential make money. Those I rather buy because at least I know eventually this company could be giving me maybe dividend when they are making money, and hence that's why confirm there's a value. Going back to your question, the valuation one for Bitcoin, I don't see how to value it because it's not a productive asset, or whatever Ethereum, Ripple, or whatever cryptocurrency is just a currency to me, right? You correct me later if you think I'm wrong. And so for them to increase in price, it's just like gold, right? Yeah. And my good argument for that is it could still work. Cryptocurrency can still work. You see, gold also got people buy expensive watch. Watch where got value one, right? Or art, where got value one? People want to beat up the price, it will go up lah. So what's your argument on that, right? If I am thinking like that and I think, why Bitcoin cannot invest because there's no value, right? It's like gambling. Just see who want to push it higher. The more people jump in, the higher it will go. But the moment people, stop jumping in, then that's game over. That's what I'm thinking. So it's a bubble to me. So what's your argument about that? Or maybe Rondy, you want to chip in also can after this?
Yeah. Let me just add. Yeah. You want me to answer first?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when we talk about value, talking about people jacking up the price or people dumping, that happens to any asset. Talk about stock market, it can be bonds, it can be commodities, anything, can be gold. Markets trade on hype. We can do valuation, whatever. By the end of the day, if 20 million people think that Tesla is going up and they pump Tesla will go up. So in terms of that, I would say that happens to anything. If you talk in terms of the specific, is the asset producing value? Value can come in terms of, if you're talking about business, okay, I buy a stock, then that business produces value. So by right, the business should come up with profit, and then the value of the stock should go up. Now, I think there are other ways to define value. For example, when you buy gold, I would say that a lot of people are buying gold because they are worried that if they store their money in other assets, for example, whether it's real estate or whether it's the stock market, they want to hedge against the volatility of other things going down. So that you can say that gold doesn't create anything. It's just a shiny gold metal. I know Warren Buffett said gold is just a shiny gold metal. However, you will also realize that countries around the world, the US government is the largest owner of gold in the world. If you say that gold is valueless, why do countries stockpile gold? Why do macro investors, why do they stockpile gold? Maybe they don't invest 50% of their assets into gold, but why do they keep 5 or 10% of their gold? And when I look at that, I believe that actual trait of gold, which is ability to store value, is actually very, very valuable. So I know that it is not perhaps a mainstream accepted kind of thinking yet, and I know a lot of people don't believe in it, but I personally believe in it, and I think that a lot of people who are moving into Bitcoin also believe in that as well.
Yeah, so that's why even when I asked a question, I also gave myself the counter argument. It could still work. See, gold worked, but gold is something that the reason why it became gold is for some reason, thousands and thousands of years ago, some people decided gold is the gold standard, right? Gold is the gold standard. Yeah, that's why that will become the main currency in the world. Locally you can use whatever currency you want, but if you want a cross-border trade, we use gold, right? Because it's value away. And there is a chance that cryptocurrency can replace gold. I'm not saying it's not, because this thing, as long as everybody say, okay, let's use crypto to replace gold, then it's done deal, right? But there are so many different kind of current crypto. So there's like Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, there's all these. So they could be like gold, silver, and maybe obsidian, whatever gem. So how do we know Bitcoin or whichever coin would be the one that is really valuable?
Right. So we look at, the first thing is, of course, the limited supply. So there are only a few cryptocurrencies that have limited supply. Bitcoin is, of course, the most famous of those cryptocurrencies with limited supply. Interesting fact is that Bitcoin's inflation rate today is a little bit more than gold's inflation rate. And I say inflation rate meaning the new Bitcoin that's created every year. It's a little bit similar to gold. It's like 2% roughly. I think gold is about 1.8%. I think Bitcoin is like 2.5%. But Bitcoin's algorithm, in which new Bitcoin is created, that halves every 4 years. So in 4 years' time, Bitcoin's inflation rate is going to be lower than gold, which will make it a very, very scarce asset. So that's the one argument. The other argument is, if you look at cryptocurrency, you look at metal, you look at anything in the world, it's not like what we call a bell curve distribution where, it is like very, very fair. In fact, if you look at a lot of things in reality, is that one or two people win the market, and that one or two people will be your gold, will be your Amazon, will be your Netflix, will be your Facebook. Everyone is using them, and everyone kind of forget about the rest of the thing. It is also your US dollar, your euro, your Japanese yen. Everyone wants to use it, and no one wants to use Zimbabwe, no one wants to use, say, other kind of currency. So if you look at that kind of trend, it is most likely that even in the world of digital assets, it's going to be like that. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 winners. And we think that it's going to be Bitcoin because Bitcoin, for some reason, has become the most established cryptocurrency asset.
So that's sort of like a network effect.
Yeah, definitely. Power law distribution, network effect, 100%.
I mean,
the more people use it, the more valuable it becomes.
I get the point. So I think
actually a lot of the comments are answering your questions also.
Yeah, man, everybody here, I believe everybody watching this here, they all believe in crypto. They are just, some people some people love Luno. Yeah.
So there's this one reply, okay? There's this one reply from Stockbit Facebook page, right? He says, from James, he says, when World War happens, Japan created Mickey Mouse currency. Bitcoin has value because it can hedge just like gold. So it's Mickey Mouse currency during that time. And gold is scarce, Bitcoin is scarce, but gold can't catch up with inflation rate. And if you know the issue of printing money out of thin air, you will jump into Bitcoin. Yeah, so I think there are a lot of really valid points in the comment sections to answer your question.
My biggest what we say rebuttal, which is already, I mean, it makes sense. There's network effect. Is what stops me from creating a coin, right? And then I get many people. I promote, make everybody use the coin. Then I become the new Bitcoin.
Like the ICO.
That's the big question.
Yeah. So you say the entire game with investing in crypto, and when in crypto you think Bitcoin is the one to go, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So if we are saying Bitcoin is the one to go, why would we make money buying Bitcoin? The entire thesis, am I right to say, is Bitcoin will replace gold, or at least 15% of it. And when that happens, given the same market size, the 8 trillion, 10% of it is like what? 15% is like 1 trillion. Then the Bitcoin should at least double, triple in terms of the price in US dollar, right? And the reason why that will happen is because so many young people is rushing in, and it will become the new gold standard. The young people is treating this as a gold standard, and it will be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more people believe in it, it will naturally become true. Am I right to say it like that?
Yeah, I think that is one angle. That is the digital angle. Now, that is the digital gold angle. Now, if you look at I'm writing an article about why invest in Bitcoin crypto. There are, 6, 7, 8 angles that you can look at. You can look at it, the growth angle. You can look at it, the currency devaluation angle. You can look at it from the future technology angle, that, this is future technology that will replace, that will help make payments across borders easier. There's so many angles to look at it. Why I've been speaking a lot about digital gold, because that's one that I believe is very strong, and I believe in it quite firmly. That's why I've been speaking about it like all night. But again, there's so many other potential angles, and it just takes 1 or 2 of this to hit, and then you basically get a huge increase. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I'll send you guys some papers and articles that you can check it out yourself.
Sure. Now, where do we follow up with you if we want to ask more information and we like to chat with you? Where should we go? Right?
You can find Aaron in Stockbit as well.
Yeah. So if you like to follow up with Aaron, you like this conversation, you want to follow up with him, you can go to StockBit app, and then you can type in Aaron Tang, and then you can go and chat with him. I think there's an inbox DM. You can talk to him there, or you can reply to his thread. Or other than that, where else can we go?
Yeah, you can come to the Luno website, which has tons of educational information material. You can come to my personal blog, which I write a blog called Mr. Stingy. That's mr-stingy.com. You can come. I write a lot of articles about Bitcoin. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, if you still have more questions, send them to Mengtek, and maybe we can do another session like this in the future.
Sure, man.
I need to Rondy as well.
Yeah, because this session we only managed to cover the basics. I've only just sent one rebuter. I have like 10 more behind. So I think we can probably do a part 2 in the future. But for now, guys, if you have anything you want to follow up with Mr. Stingy, Aaron, you can go to StockBit website, you can go to Luno, or you can go to his blog. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight.
Wait, hold on. I think, Aaron, if I'm not mistaken, there is some promo, right? Some promo code that you can share for everybody here.
Yeah. Do you have the code itself with you, Rondy, or do you need me to type it up?
Can you type it up?
I
think it is StockBit Luno, right?
Guys, while you guys are figuring out the promo code, maybe just let me share what's my view. I'm not saying Bitcoin cannot buy. In fact, I almost bought it, right? But for me now, I won't buy it just to keep. Just personally, because all these people watching may be my follower, I won't buy just for keep, as I have a lot of objections now. So for me, it can still make me money, but I will treat it more as a trading tool, right? Trading tool. So TA definitely come first, and the TA now looks great. It may break all-time high soon, right? If it can break all-time high, who knows where is the higher it can go, right? So that is the whole reason why this entire cryptocurrency interests me now. So if you want, I believe you can use the same technical analysis risk management tool to trade crypto. So by the way, guys, you can download the Luno app, right? Right now, I think they are having some promotion, which is if you download the app, you can put in the promo code at the app. There's one place to put in the promo code, right? Which is at rewards. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Then you can go enter the code.
Yeah. Enter in the code, which is StockBit Luno, StockBit Luno. It's already in the comments. So yeah, please put it in the. Please enter this code. This promo code is for new users. If you use this promo code and then you use the instant buy function, which I told you about earlier, and you buy 500 ringgit worth, you will get an additional 50 ringgit worth for free. So this is, I guess you can almost call it like immediate, almost 10% ROI. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, I mean, you can use this, and then, if you want to cash out immediately also can, but I leave it to you guys.
I was just about to ask the question, then I'm like, stop, don't be so cheap, man. Just shut up.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I see a comment from Marzi saying that, it's for new user only and sad. Well, if that's the case, share it with your siblings or your friends or people.
If somebody, found out about this entire webinar and they just open an account but haven't approved, can they still enter the promo code? I think that's possible, right?
As long as they have not bought before, okay? As long as they not use somebody else's code, they have not bought before, and they're a new user, then they can use this promo code lah. If you're existing user as well, you have not used any other promo code, right? You can use, no problem.
Wow, free ringgit. Okay, good. All right. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope this is a very good reward for you for staying all the way to the end. Thank you, Aaron, also for being so patient and answering all the questions. So thank you everyone for tuning in. If you want to catch up, you can go to the link that we mentioned just now. Okay, have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.